Main phase.
Hello and welcome to part 2 of my puzzle game stream. If you were following last night, you will know that we played a lot of puzzle games, but the 3-hour mark hit us and there were many still unplayed, so I decided, yeah, we'll do a second part and there may even be a third part, because I like looking at these puzzle games and everybody seemed to be enjoying looking at the puzzle games, especially when we were picking out more obscure ones, or ones people maybe hadn't played, and random facts about ones that people maybe knew quite well. So yeah, I've looked over the list, I've cleared out the ones we did yesterday, and I've got another selection for today. And obviously also if people have got suggestions in the chat and the games I now can play, I'll have a listen to those too. Otherwise, I have a nice little selection, so welcome everybody. We've got Aussie Guy, provider of facts and very much stream regular. We've got the Lithian Eternal. We've got me. We've got Cow. Cow. I don't think Cow made it last time. But Cow is always good to see. And no, Cow Riding a Hero is not a puzzle game, even though it is incredibly janky and everybody's puzzled about how to play it. We've got Orgite Soul and we've got Mr. Fungi. So yeah, we've got a few other people that are from the new Discord, which I posted a link to just above. So if anybody wants to join the Discord, to join the community, the link is right there. Otherwise, I'm still available on Twitter and on here. But it's a nice little place where we can discuss the streams, we can discuss what may be in future streams, and we can discuss emulation work. So if that interests you, then feel free to join. But yes, I thought we'd start with a bit of Hatris. You are right, Mr. Fungi. So why Hatris? Well, let's just go full screen now and talk about this one a bit. Because obviously Tetris had been a massive success and everybody wanted to produce the next puzzle game. And Video System especially decided to turn to the original creator of Tetris and get a few of his games into the arcades. And Hatris was one of the other games he created. And I'm sure, it didn't turn out anywhere near as popular as Tetris. In fact, I think most people have forgotten about it these days. But yeah, we will. Yeah, it's definitely B tier stuff, wasn't it, August? But we will be having a look at it. So let's coin it up and yeah, let's give it a play. Let's just show me if the volume level's okay. I think maybe you need to go down a little. There you go. So you're dropping pairs of hats, and maybe the most important thing to note is the hats all have different vertical sizes, so they stack in slightly different ways. And that is really the key to what makes this a puzzle game rather than just different colours, because you have to consider the size of the hats and how different hats will land on different hats, and how they're going to block other hats if you try and slide them across afterwards. So it is a very unusual concept. I mean, all credit to the guy for coming up with something I don't think anybody else would have ever thought to come up with. But at the end of the day, it is just stacking. So you've got to stack 5 of them, and see, it can be very difficult to place things where you want. And these big hats, they end up taking loads of space. I can probably slide that and not block that, but then I've not slid that anywhere useful. Putting this here is just going to do that. I can slide that quickly that way. Again, I can't do much with this. It doesn't feel as natural to play as, say, Tetris. And I don't know if this is just a very Russian concept. I mean, I don't think anybody here talks about hats in a kind of way that would make you think, oh yes, we need to make a game about hats. Okay, I've messed that already. But here we are. We have an arcade game based on hats called Hatris. So can I squeeze this button? Nope, we can't get that across quickly enough. But as you can see, I'm starting to fail very quickly. Because the only way to clear things is by getting, you know, 5 hats. Or, you know, burning some hats. And it doesn't really lead to much in the way of combos or anything else, which, you know, Tetris didn't really have combos, you could get a certain number of lines. But it makes it much more difficult to start clearing the playfield once it gets busy. And like any arcade game, it just start to ramp up the speed a little bit. So, yeah, I think I can see why, you know, this never reached the same levels of critical acclaim as Tetris itself. It's still interesting to see what somebody who created an incredibly famous game went on to do afterwards. And now we've got some wizard hats, extra tall ones, just to mess us up even more. So, it's a safe drop. Music is kind of forgettable too. Now, it's not the only B-tier game he created that Video System decided, oh yes, we're going to bring that to the arcades. We'll probably look at the other one later. The other one is one I actually was involved in emulating, this one I wasn't. Yeah. This one isn't. Now we can get rid of all of one type, so let's get rid of all of those ones and see what happens. And now we've got some more hat types, we've got some crowns. It's also on the TG. Yeah, it got ported around. The crowns really don't stack, you know, they go right on top of each other. So there's no way I can get 5 crowns there, so that line is effectively blocked now. And yeah, game over. So, I've never had a strategy for this game. Never at all. It was sold by Taito for Video System. So Taito wanted to sell this. I mean, they're very much pushing the appeal of the game as being who designed it. If you've been watching the track mode on the early part of the stream, you'll see they've got this whole welcome. This is my new game. You know, it's challenging the other one, and it is much harder than Tetris. But is that because it's not actually the best design? You know, full. Here's a picture. Here is some text. You know, they're not really selling it based on the gameplay. They're selling it based on who created it, which might not be the best way to sell a game. It's like John Romero and Daikatana. Yeah, he has things to say about that game. He was at Play Blackpool having a chat about it. New arcades in the next version of MAME. I mean, there's a bunch of System 10 stuff. Game City. The Golgo 13 thing has sound. Now the system requirements are rather high. There is the strange one where you're punching some dummy thing to a comedy routine. That's entirely in Japanese. There's the high school quiz Japanese thing. So yeah, there was some new arcade games in the next release. The parent set of Gamshara works in the next release. So I don't know if they're ones you're personally interested in, but yeah, they're definitely so. The problem is you always have to really make a choice to block a column. You're often left with no choice of not blocking a column. So it's like Tetris if every piece you had to put down was slightly in the wrong place. And I think that's what just feels a bit off when I'm playing this. Like, you know, I'm being forced to make moves I don't want to make because there's nothing else I can do. I can't just go, I don't want the second piece. It's got to be put somewhere. So I don't know if you can actually play this for an extended period of time, or if inevitably you'll end up with stacks just building up from pieces you just can't place. But I've never looked to see how long people played, what the high scores are, or anything else. Yeah, Bob Zed's channel is rather useful, isn't it? That tends to be after the new releases, but if you're looking for news in advance, then I can tell you that much. I can't think of much else. There's been some regression fixes. The Microprose 3D games have sound again, although I don't think the inputs are quite right. Yeah. And last release with the main System 10 work was one of the busiest main releases in many years. I think everybody's taking a bit of a break, actually. You only work yourself so hard until it gets too much. Climbing on top of those seems like a bad idea. The sail meter's building up, which is when it'll give me the chance to just clear all of one type. But, will it help? Oh dear. I'm glad I don't work in a hat store. This just seems like a nightmare trying to look at our hat stack. But yeah, it's a really interesting concept. You don't see many puzzle games that are this original, and yeah, that went across the line. Any part of the hat goes across the line, it is game over. And again, I might have got away with a tiny hat there, but not the big one. So, what do I think of Hatris? I've never been a big fan of it. I can understand, it's an important game in the sense, say, same guy who did Tetris designed it, but I can also see why it didn't really take off. It doesn't have the simplicity, it doesn't have the obviousness, it doesn't ever make you feel like you're making the right choice. It always feels like, say, you've got to make a compromise on every move. So it looks like a Neo Geo game. There's no scaling. I mean, Neo Geo games are known for their scaling, but I don't know. It's decent looking. In fact, I don't know if the Neo Geo really does the high colour images for the digitized image there. So maybe the Neo Geo would have to have a worse looking image there. Anyway, so yeah, Hatris. Now, I'm going to quickly move on from Hatris actually. So there's another game that I put up I think a video about, or I did some coverage of it, and somebody said, hey, that game is just like Hatris. And I'm just trying to find out what it was again. Hold on, this is the one. Yeah, this one, the Game Master. When I covered the Game Master, this game came up, Bubble Boy. Obviously this is a handheld system that was meant to compete with the likes of the Game Boy, but obviously didn't. And you got pieces dropping down in pairs of 2, and you can just place them somewhere and swap them over. So you can swap them left and right, just like in Hatris. But I think you'll immediately notice where this one falls over, even compared to Hatris. Every piece is the same size. So that whole strategy of placing pieces and then shifting across because of the hat that you placed on was taller is gone. So all you're doing now is just making stacks of 4. I mean, it's got the same problems as Hatris, just without one of the few things that really makes Hatris even slightly playable. See, as soon as you put that down, you can't shift that other piece. You can only shift if you're higher up, like this. And even then, it's kind of not always responsive. So, yeah, I don't know if they played Hatris and thought we'll make a Hatris clone, or if they just made an incredibly generic puzzle game and it just happens to be a bit like Hatris. But Yeah, unfortunately, some people would have got these systems back in the day instead of the real things, because you know the parents would have gone, well, what's the difference? It's a handheld game player. It plays games. It's got cartridge. This one's cheaper. It's got a puzzle game that's a bit like Tetris. Yeah, just get this one. I mean, it's not going to make any difference. The kid's not going to use it in a year or two anyway. But yeah, it's not great, is it? This. And this is probably one of the more competently programmed games on the system. Yeah. All this jank, but you know, thanks to emulation, it's jank. You can experience it yourself, and the emulation works pretty well. So if you really want to play this, you can. You play arcades a lot, especially Japanese arcades. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting Japanese arcades ones we didn't necessarily get here. But yeah, we're not going to spend too long on this. I just wanted to show it because of the Hatris comparison, really. Can I actually get into a position where I can see... Once you put one down, you can move the other one around. But again, with the hats not... Well, with the pieces not being different sizes like the hats, it's kind of useless. So, I don't know if it even gives you any kind of burn piece or anything like that, so... Yeah, you're just doing that. It didn't seem to be building up a counter. It's... once you get the hang of how to load the console games, it's not too difficult game to see. And yeah, the face to the right was pretty creepy. But yeah, the Game Master had some improvements over the last year and everything, so it was worth showing, and it's just not really worth playing that game, so let's not play that game. Let's play a game that is more famous and better. It's a sequel. It's Super Puzzle Bobble on the Taito GNet system. So Taito GNet used Complat Flash sort of card type things. I think the PCMCIA standard cards with flash ROM in, and there was a different one that used Compact Flash, the later model. But yeah, it was again, I think Taito's attempt to do a fairly cheap system, because obviously you just plug in a new card and you get a new game. So they released a number of fairly experimental games on it, puzzle games, and a sequel to one of their most famous games, which is this one, Super Puzzle Bobble. So yes, Super Buster Move. So let's coin it up, let's play it. It's got your standard modes. So we'll do puzzle mode because it's a puzzle stream. Normal course or expert course? We'll go normal course. So it's got a bit of 3D in like here. I mean, I don't know why. Just do it in 2D. But yeah, you've got a 3D bob on a something that looks like you made it in Zelda, really. Yeah, there aren't many arcades left here either. I mean, you've got the odd big special one. Say like Play Blackpool. Not Play Blackpool. Play Blackpool's the event. Arcade Club Blackpool, which I went to a Play Blackpool. And in America you've got things like Galloping Ghost, but otherwise, yeah, they're all redemption games and kiddie things, and it's a bit of, this feels more like Pang because there's the things in the way that it bounces off. But yes, Taito, you know, tried to add new gameplay elements to keep it fresh. Some people, I think, do prefer the simplicity of the original games, but you know, you can't just keep putting out the same Puzzle Bobble again and again. You do have to introduce new elements. See, that's a swap side thing, so I've moved the thing over here. So fire that and it moves over here. Not every element they put in works as well as others, but at the same time, it makes it more interesting. You know, you can easily, especially these days, go back to playing the older ones if you prefer the older ones. But if they've just done the same thing exactly for the newer ones, then I think people would have no reason to even try them at all. Now look, we've got tiny balls that will squeeze between gaps before they expand, which again is different. It's just throwing new ideas in there. requires new skills. See, I get that all the way up there. But I didn't want that to go all the way up there, and it did. Again, this is GNet is another PlayStation-based platform, just with overclocked PlayStation, really, newer hardware, but with an improved sound system as well. It's got a very high-quality, synth-level sound system that Taito did like to do. Taito were very proud of their sound systems. There you go. There's also Psychic Force Puzzle Tizen on the PS1. I don't know if it works in MAME, that one. I've not tried it. That didn't come up on my list when I was searching for games, so I've not tried that one. That is one I should probably actually research then for a potential part 3. Although I think I did try one in the past, it didn't run. Something jogs my memory with that title. But I don't know. I've not tested every game I've put down tonight, so we could find some don't work. But I think everybody knows how to play Puzzle Bobble anyway. You just fire your bubbles up and pop them. Things fall down. As you can see, I've seen a lot of people still upload videos of this on YouTube where they're using the old MAME versions where the music wasn't emulated. It just sounds so wrong. I think that might be because they're using it. Is it in MAME for Droid? Are they using MAME for Droid or something like that? But these days, obviously you can hear the music is lovely and well emulated. So. Does this one have an updated mix of Let's Go to Power Island? I don't know the music in this one, Mog. Oh, and thank you to Mog's Emulation Station for the 250 Swedish coronas. Thank you very much, Mog. Thank you for being here, and I hope you are enjoying the streams. And also, thank you for your work on MAME as well. If there are any puzzle games that you might like to see, then let me know, and I'll see if I can schedule them. If the ones that I know are going to work and be stream friendly. Yes. So the donation is very much appreciated, and it will keep me help pay for some beers or other things like that for the streams. Pop and Bounce, is Pop and Bounce a puzzle cow? It's more of an Arkanoid type game. You're asking you about puzzle games if there are any you might happen to know that run in MAME. That was a mess. The answer can also be just play anything. This is going bad. That didn't even help. This is going to be a good shot. It wasn't. No. And I failed. But yeah, if you do have any puzzle game suggestions, people don't have to donate or contribute to get requests, but if somebody does, I do like to make sure you've got to say. So game over. GKN. Shall we go with the air versus compute mode? With or without chain reaction? We'll just pick Bob. So I don't think the versus mode is much different. I think it's the puzzle mode that's got most of the changes. But I've not played that much of the versus mode on this one. I think in general though, every Puzzle Bobble game they tried to introduce something new to the puzzle mode. I know Puzzle Bobble 4 was the one where they got all the pulleys and things like that, and quite a few people didn't like that so much. Yeah, Gallico stuff tends to be safer work. Maniac Square, Zor World. Seems to be dropping a few frames here. Machine emulation isn't the most demanding, but there are a few moments when it does push the PC a little bit. You can tell from the sound skipping slightly. So I might do an upgrade on the PC at some point soon. Opens up a few more possibilities and would allow me to stream hyper stuff at full speed too. Gau's Panic 2 hasn't been mentioned in a while. I mean, even if I emulate Gau's Panic 2, it's not one I'm going to be demonstrating on stream though. That's the problem. If I, a bunch of these games I emulate, it's like, can I play that on stream? No. No, not if I want to keep my account. So we do have a selection of choices from Mog here. Blockout, oh my god, Kashat, Sparks, Puzznic, Collins, Emerald. Emerald is a nice one. Hatris we started with, Hexion, IQ Block. Is IQ Block safe for work? I know for some IGS games they have dodgy images and I have to turn them off for Grand Tour. Okay, I think we will look at Puzznic. Maybe not the arcade, but we will look at some Puzznic after this. In fact, we'll probably jump straight to the Puzznic. I think we've seen plenty of Puzzle Bobble. I'm trying to lose here. Puzzle Bobble. There we go. Poitto. Yeah, I think I played that one a little bit before. I don't know. I don't remember the exact rules on that one, but yeah, I think I'm going to put Puzznic on, not the arcade version, because we've got a little fact to go with. So, the NES got a port of Puzznic, and one of the interesting things about the NES version of Puzznic is it's got this other mode. It's got the Gravnik mode. So if you put Gravnik on, you select a gravity direction and then you press the button to move the pieces. So this isn't in the arcade at all. You don't have this mode anywhere in the arcade. So the same rules, except you just change the gravity and then press the button to make things move around. Which, again, do I want to go that? No, I don't want to do that way. That way? No, I messed that up. Blockout versus Welltris. Yeah, I think Welltris is an interesting one if I'd prepared, because it's got that hidden 4-player mode in it. But I didn't prepare that. In fact, I can just do that to get rid of them. That's far easier than that. There's a special... Are you talking about the prototype version, Aussie guy? Yeah, the 4-player mode doesn't quite work and is obviously disabled. That's why the set's marked as 2-player in MAME, just in case there is an actual 4-player version out there. But there probably isn't. Steph found it when he was poking around in the code back in the day, you know, because he used to do all the dip switching inputs for me, and it's like, okay, yeah, there's all these 4-player controls, and in fact there is a 4-player mode hidden away in the code. Is that going to work? Yes. Yeah, that version. I think the I can't really play that version on stream now. So yeah, this is the Gravnik mode. It's not really Puzznic, but if you played Puzznic to death and wanted a different mode, then check out the NES version. We'll have a look at the proper Puzznic mode. Yeah, Maniac Square Prototype is a very different game. I've heard it was a completely different project and the game got rewritten from scratch for some reason. But this is Puzznic itself. You pick a block and you slide it along. You've got to clear the blocks, and you've got to make sure you don't end up with any odd blocks. It's standard. The arcade version has adult backgrounds by default. At least I think the US set doesn't, but all the other sets do. But it's kind of difficult to get Puzznic too wrong. I've played knockoff bootleg versions of this on plug-and-play devices, and they've all played pretty well. Yeah, Cleopatra Fortune Plus. It does run in MAME, but about 40% speed here, which makes it a bit bad for trying to play. So these are all fairly simple stages. Brixian, you mean, Mog? The one that's developed by the people who went on to be Semicon, basically. That one's got very Semicom. Brixian. I think Brix is a different game entirely. I think that's one of the platformy things where you go on the screen. Brixian is the one that's very much like Semicom, where they're just using MCU to copy a bunch of code into memory. Unfortunately, that's another case of where we lost the developer who actually extracted that code using his fluke thing. He was involved in some traffic accident. But, I don't know. Yeah, before they changed the name, same company, really. How do I do this one? I'll pull this out here, it's going to do those ones, but it's going to match that. I'm pretty sure that glitched. I think the block just... I mean, I passed the level, but my block dropped inside the other blocks. It was called Bricks for the PC, Aha. The world version has it removed. The American version and Japan still have it. You see, that's why it's a good job I didn't fire it off. I know there's a dip switch to turn it off, but I could have accidentally ended up with adult content I didn't want. Oh crap, I can't do that. If I get rid of that... Yeah, I'm going to get rid of that. Have I played Calcune? You mean Klax? Or do you actually mean a game called Calcune? Anyway, Puzznic. And NES Puzznic specifically with the extra mode, if you want to play that. It seems to play fine. Apart from that, when I thought I glitched it there, so I'll have to see what that was all about on a replay, but you get the idea. So... the puzzles are identical to the arcade. That definitely sounds like it's the same game then. I think Brixian has slightly randomized puzzles. I think you get a different set each time. But anyway, Welltris was mentioned. I'll say so. It says 2 players is because there is a hidden 4-player mode in the code. But again, this is a video system. Not only did they get Hatris, they got Welltris. So again, you've got all the very Russian imagery. You know the bulletproof software copyright this time. I guess it's licensed from them. I kind of like the video system with doing this, and it wasn't just with these sort of Tetris sequels either. They did it with a few other things, Pipe Mania, Pipe Dream, which we may look at too. But yeah, so the pieces drop in down the sides, and the gravity depends on the direction which they came from. Yeah, this game is very confusing. So you see, because I'm dropping from the top, gravity acts that way. But if I drop from this side, gravity acts that way. And the whole perspective really hurts your eyes. And the controls aren't great either, but that's not the game. I think that's just the port. But yeah, what's this piece? A single block? Why are there single blocks? This is Tetris. That's not a tetromino. Nor is this. What is going on? And yeah, if you kind of drop stuff down the side, and then it gets even more confusing. They get the blocks go in different directions depending on where you dropped it. Help! I got 2 lines, but I also messed up and got one in the wrong place. This is very much, I created a popular game, I want to try and make a sequel that does more, but I don't really know what to do with it, and I missed the point of what made the original fun. I never owned this back in the day. I remember seeing it in magazines, advertised, and kind of wanting it. I think for like the Amiga or the Amstrad, I don't remember which platform. But yeah, I don't think I would have liked it if I got it. For one, I don't like Tetris games with odd-shaped pieces like that. Bonus block? What is the bonus block? Now the pieces are starting to drop in from the other sides, because if it wasn't confusing enough already... And because I'm failing, they're starting to drop in from closer down, because every time you fail, it closes the water. This is one I emulated back in the day. It's interesting because it uses a bitmap layer. Not many video system games use bitmap layers, but I think maybe when I emulated this, it was the first time I played Welltris, because I didn't buy it back in the day. And yeah, I was somewhat underwhelmed by it. Tetris Foot, the laws of physics are worse than Grand Tour from IGS. He put his name on the US Pew Pew. That is odd. Right. So, as Mog was saying, if we played that with back-to-back with Blockout, I'm going to play the Genesis Blockout because I don't like the arcade version that much. Though I seem to recall this one has... This one needs the start button to drop pieces. I'm just going to map that there. So this is what I own. This is one of the smallest Mega Drive games. I think it's like 128k ROM. But I played this one to death. It's a bit slow in 2-player mode, but in single-player mode, it is a really good version of Blockout. I'm going to play with the standard pieces, because again, I don't like it when you start getting all the odd pieces in. You've got three different rotate buttons for the different axes, which is more than the new Zelda game's got. You know, you're filling in a pit. You actually got pieces, and it makes sense. You can sort of visualize where things are going to go. You can get an idea of where you've left holes, even if you can't see the holes you've left. As long as you remember where they are, you're good to go. If you don't press the wrong buttons, it helps too. Now, there is no fast drop option, so if I want to try and slide something under, if there's even a way to slide under, you do have to wait for it to drop down manually, but there aren't. Yes, there's an arcade Blockout game, but I didn't like the arcade release that much. So yeah, it's quite slow at the moment. I don't know why I'm even doing this. I don't know if you can even slide on this. But you still get to see. Yeah, so now we're at the green level. And we can slide that down there and drop that. Because, you know, I just wanted to clear a level. It takes a while to get used to the rotation. But once you do, it works well. You get these single block pieces now and again, but it feels closer to the natural successor to Tetris. It feels like this is the sequel that should have, you know, what the official sequel should have been. This block. For the most part, it's Tetris shapes too, and the different colours on the different layers mean you can, you know, easily work out the height of things down there. It does get quite fast, so being completely out of practice, once it starts to get fast, I'm just going to fail. But yeah, this is a fun game. Welltris was not a fun game. You do have that slight ability to still move after you drop it too, but you have to be very careful. Don't get much slide afterwards. But it's not a complete hard drop, it's just a much faster drop. But yeah, I've still got the cartridge for this somewhere. I've not seen the box in a while. Maybe I've not got the box. I've definitely got the cartridge for the Mega Drive. But ultimately, people have even forgotten about this one, really. You know, you've got new versions of Tetris. You've not really got new versions of this that's, you know, selling well on current platforms, as far as I know. People just like, you know, Tetris in its simplest form, really, just with the modern control features. It's maybe a game that didn't need that many changes. I mean, even Sega with sequels like, you know, Flashpoint, where they tried to make it basically Flash Tetris, like they did Flash Columns, and blocks for the special blocks. It didn't really make the game better. It was still Tetris, and you just really wanted to play Tetris, not Tetris with a goal of trying to clear a single block. And there are sequels to Tetris that work quite well. I like Tetris Plus 2 from Jellicoe, where you've got to try and get the little guy to the exit. That's an interesting challenge. Not an all-time classic, but it's playable. It's a bit like Risky Challenge from Irem, but again closer to just being Tetris than Risky Challenge was. Anyway, yes, I'm playing this badly because I'm trying to talk, and my brain doesn't really work very well in 3 dimensions either. Never has. Even in the real world, my spatial awareness in 3D is terrible. There's an unreleased NES version, and there's that 3D block thing I think we discussed the other day, isn't there? Was a guy yesterday, which is by the Magic Jewelry people. Anyway, you get the idea. It's Blockout. And so the colours do repeat after a while because limited colour palette. But, I mean, you can tell the red down there is not the same as the red up there, so that's not really a problem. And it even gives you a nice little view of the layers after you fail, so you can see where you left the holes. But yeah, you've got an options menu. You can use different sets of blocks. You can change the pit dimensions. So, you know, a few basic little things if you don't want to start on level 0 because you got too good at the game. Which back in the day, I wasn't too bad at it, so I would have probably put that up a bit. You've got the options. A very simple game. Simple implementation of Blockout. Tiny cartridge, but it was one of the Mega Drive games I played more than many of the others back then. So I think EA did something right by publishing this one. So there we go. A bit of Blockout, which is a far better sequel to Tetris than Welltris was. Because Welltris was a bit of a mess. Spectrum. This is a modern Spectrum game called Snake Escape. So loading noises. Let's just quickly zoom through it. Now this is one of those that's using one of the high colour Spectrum engines. So you've got more than 2 colours per 8x8 square. And typically that works better when you try and do a tile-based game. So yeah, Nirvana engine. So this is, I think, from 2021. You're addicted to puzzle games, are you, Mog? There's so much variety in them, so I can understand that. So keyboard. So you control the snake. You can move forward. You can move up, but you'll fall back down again if you try and move it off yourself. So basically, you're acting as your own platform. But you can move up. You see, you can move up to 3 squares. The face colour on the snake will change the higher you get. So if you try and move more than 3 squares up, you then have to move across. So it's a case of, you know, building your own way up to where you need to go. Welltris. Wasn't there something like that just dumped for the... I don't want to fall in that pit there because I'll be stuck, so I've probably got to go the long way. Wasn't there something Bugs just dumped for the Master System too? In one of the Korean multi-games. I don't know if MAME supports that multi-game thing yet, but I seem to remember there was on SMS Power something like a Tetris game with bugs. There you go, 2 sets are they, Mog? See, I can't go higher than the red there, so you have to plan. Obviously you can work out the minimum number of moves and things like that. Now we've got to, say, crates to push in. But I've probably messed that up now. Yeah, because I can't push past. I can definitely try that. Nope. It's not even a hard level, I'm just messing up. So you push that in there. And then you go like that. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, it would be nice if the levels had fun names, wouldn't it? That is something that does feel like it's missing here. But it's still a nice little puzzle concept. No. What's the solution to this one then? Not this either. If you make silly mistakes like that, you don't. No. It's good that it's got a fast restart option, I'll say that much. am I going to get up there? I don't see how I'm going to do this. Good evening, Peter. Can I play Snake on the old Nokias? Unfortunately not. The Nokia emulation isn't really there at all. I don't see how I'm going to do this puzzle. I'm being stupid, aren't I? This should be up. This should be obvious. But I've got to... Oh, I know. No, I don't know what I've got to do. I can take a shortcut by doing this. Aha, that's what I've got to do. Yeah, that's how you do it. Yeah, the gravity applies if you go over anything. It's quite a clever little puzzle game. It's different to the tape one. I need to push the crate first. So this is a multi-stage one where you've got to get that crate down there before you go up there. Oh, but I've left a single gap there. So don't leave a little gap for you to fall in yourself there, because you'll fall in. Yeah, there's so many good AY tunes. People doing good AY tunes these days. We've gone back to the old days where there were some not great games being released that have just got fantastic tunes. So there we go. Yeah. Anyway. So this is a Snake Escape. I think you can find this one for free. It's a bit older than some of the others. And if you like Spectrum Games, puzzle games, give that one a try. I would definitely recommend it. So, plug and plays. This is one I always play on this type of stream. We've got the Disney Friends Jack Specific plug and play, but it's got a game key in it. And the game key has, a rather good puzzle game. So if you select the Goofy game, Goofy's Underwater Adventure, it's a bit puzzle bobbly, but you have to blow your bubbles, you have to capture the fish, and then you match the pieces. So again, this seems to be a unique puzzle game. I can't think of anything else that's got this whole capture the fish to change the colour of the bubble before you pop the things. This was one of them where if you return a negative number it will crash. Yes, Mog. There's a few like that actually. If the game doesn't check if the number's negative, then it tries to negative index a piece, and yeah, it goes very wrong if your random number generator is not clamped. The other Disney puzzle game does the same. It generates invalid pieces in the playfield. It's unusual to see, decent original concepts in cheap plug and play games. It does actually get quite challenging after a while. There's a bit of momentum on your movement, so you have to be careful. And yeah, I am pressing up to speed things up. You don't have to just wait for it to naturally float up. I mean, I could just do the slow way like this, but there is a timer. So I think you do, if you want to beat the time, you're going to have to, push things a bit faster. I'm struggling on the time, in fact. I ran out of time. So yeah, you see, it's a kid's game, but it doesn't mess around. It absolutely doesn't mess around with the timing. You take too long, you are failing. So, you know, it just makes sense to try and join things up a bit better. Get rid of this lone one over here. And then there's some later levels that require pretty precise steering. Steering too. I mean, they all do, really. There we go. Bombjack uses a pair of AYs. Because the some of the ports have got basically identical music. Because they just, I think, copied the sound data from the arcade. So now we've got more colours of fish. Yeah. Puzzle Bobble meets Galaxy Wars. Yeah, it's an odd combination. I think if I go over here, yeah, that's an easy level. 3 times AY. So it's the bootlegs that have got 2 times AY. They just drop one of them. Is that what I'm thinking of? Yeah, if you just don't get any fish in the bubble, it just becomes a dead bubble colour. But if this is copied from another game, then you know, somebody let me know. Yeah, I mean, considering it's got 3 AYs, it's not that impressive. I don't know. Arcades didn't push the AY anywhere near as near the point the home systems did. Yeah, this is one where you have to actually carefully navigate, and I obviously failed to do that. You listen to some of those, you know, Spectrum's got a single AY and a beeper, and there's so much going on compared to the arcade games that often just use the AY for basic effects. There we go. Yeah, we might look at MSX games shortly, actually. Well, we're going to do a version comparison. I do hope whoever made this one is still working in the industry, because it is a level above any of the other plug-and-play games. Yeah, Jewelriss just have a lot of sound hardware. And the drums especially. No. Doesn't matter what colour, because we've got explosive ones. Anyway, say I don't think I need to play too much of this. You get the idea. It's a cute Disney puzzle game, which is only available on a game key for a plug-and-play unit. So not many people have actually played this one because the game keys were not that popular. Because, well, they were not popular enough for Jacks to keep doing them. They ended up phasing them out. But yeah, Jewelriss sounds great on a real cabinet as long as the speakers and everything are in good shape and the borders. So. Let me just quickly look through the lists. Where shall we go? Another one Mog mentions actually. Puitto by Metro Enable. Now we've seen a lot of Metro stuff lately because the Namco System 10 had a fair number of Metro games. This is a 1993 one they did. So let's coin it up. You want one player versus computer or monster mode? Let's go monster mode. I don't know what monster mode is. I don't think I've played monster mode. So you've got blocks of 4. And you're matching 3. Are you matching 3? I matched 3 before. So the monster mode, the monster is attacking. It's not, the monster doesn't have its own playfield. Metro, yeah, Metro seems to be one of those that have gone under the radar despite likely being involved in much more than they're ever credited for. You know, I do wonder if they had a hand in some of the other Namco stuff just from seeing it and seeing their games. So it's columns with blocks of 4. So if you can do diagonal matches, you can apparently. Okay. Now the face is something different. Just got to get my head into the right patterns. That's the thing. It does take a while playing any puzzle game to adapt to the rules, because at first you'll try and play it like a different game. And that's when you'll fail. Either rules or pacing, because sometimes it does make sense to try and take your time and you know, plan things. Other games you have to be super quick and drop everything. Hexa from Dr. Korea. That's one where I have to turn off the adult stuff, which I may not have done. Hexa is an interesting one because there's a clone set that seems to have a second copy of the program ROM and has some protection. It's quite odd. The clone set doesn't work yet. I think the clone set might be the original and the working set might be a bootleg. The Hexa, but I'm not really sure. At the very least, the parent set is the unprotected version and the clone set's weird. I mean, same reason you had CPUs at different clocks. You could, and obviously you'd have to adjust the programming for it. I mean, it's one of the things that differs between the CPC and the Spectrum is the AY runs at different clock, so the sound has to be adjusted. Some games don't, and they just sound really, really wrong. So this is just building up chains to beat the monsters, I guess. We're getting slowly crushed against the ceiling there. Nice little animations. Yeah, dropping squares really makes you have to think more about how you're going to put the pieces down. Because you're making columns. And if you're making columns, it's more logical when pieces drop in stacks. It doesn't kill you. It's one of those that doesn't kill you as soon as it goes off the top of the screen, which I kind of like. Teki Paki's the same. You only die when there's literally no room to put anything. Yeah, on by default. I think I might have turned it off already when I was preparing. Because it is on my list, but sometimes I'll turn these things off in a different build and then I'll get to the stream build and didn't turn it off. So it's one I'll have to check if I play Hexa. But Hexa's just columns, isn't it? Although it came out the year before columns, which I always thought was strange at the point. The time I thought Sega developed columns, but now we know that Sega bought the rights to columns. It's maybe not so strange. So this is, say, more an endless puzzle mode, whereas the other one's more versus CPU mode. Yeah, if it's running at a different clock, then you get different pitch, sound and the like, and timers will work slightly differently, which may be of benefit in certain cases, but you do have to keep it in mind. Often they end up running at different clocks just because that's the clock, the crystal that was on the board, and they didn't want to have to add an extra crystal, so they just ran the sound chip at whatever the something that could divide the CPU clock by 2. So what we do? Not the most challenging of the puzzle games. It's not killed me off super quickly, this one. I think maybe arcade operators would have been pushing for something that punished the players a bit more. Because if they can talk and play... Yeah, easy, yeah. As the mods basically saying the same thing I said there. Anyway, yeah, News has no way to turn the adult features off though, as you go, unfortunately. News is one of those ones I emulated back in the day. That's such a simple driver. It was always a good example of, what's a really simple MAME driver. That and Gumbo. News being a Z81 and Gumbo being a 68K one are just such simple drivers. If you want to just, how do you do a very simple MAME driver? They used to be good examples. Yeah, the Metro hardware is a bit overkill, and it's not quite emulated properly, but I think some of that might just be differences between the boards. I think some are going to mirror the tile maps in different ways because there's more or less RAM, and MAME's trying to treat them all the same, which may not be the best way to go about it. So, should you? Now this is where things could go horribly wrong because I've not tested this one. So if this next one doesn't work or I can't configure it, don't be surprised. Klax on the Lynx. Pardon me. So this one is made for the Lynx in vertical mode. Because that was one of the things about the Lynx is you could rotate it. And some games, I think, had you rotate it on the fly. So, yes. The Lynx, to me, is probably the most underrated of all the handhelds. It is an incredibly capable machine with a lovely line blitter, loads of great games with lots of zooming going on. And, it absolutely blows the Game Boy and Game Gear away. But it was never popular. I think it's one of the few really good things Atari were doing around this time. But, I don't know, maybe it's where all Atari's best developers somehow went. Or maybe it's just because these concepts work much better for, low resolution handhelds than they do on consoles like the Jaguar, where blitters and things didn't really match what anybody else was doing in the game. I don't know. Why not the arcade version of Klax? Well, I could also look at the arcade version of Klax, but one thing I like to do on these streams is show off different versions. So that's why I've picked this version for now. But this has got fascinating strategy in the sense that you're picking up the tiles. And sometimes you have to pick up tiles to get the diagonals and things like that because you need to stack something before you put the tile down. You're leveling the land at the same time as you're making the what you need to make. But we could have a look at the arcade version too. But I think it's important to highlight that MAME does all these other systems, and our Lynx emulation is actually really good. I don't think it's perfect, but there's probably nothing that is perfect. But every time I've tried to play a Lynx game in a MAME, it's been fine. Same for the 2600, apart from that acid drop game, which doesn't work for some inexplicable reason. Which is a shame, because acid drop looked like kind of a neat 2600 puzzler. But sometimes that's just how it goes. A lot of people don't like Klax and just think it was a bit of a filler game. But I don't mind it. It feels a little claustrophobic at times. I like the fact that the Lynx version here is vertical. I think the arcade would have benefited from being vertical. I don't know why it's a horizontal game. In terms of the screen space, it kind of makes more sense. But, I'm not playing well, obviously. I've not got much Klax strategy. You can probably tell that much. Let's get rid of that. No, no, I can't drop that there. This is not going well. Not going well at all. Anyway, so that was the Lynx version, but yeah, the Lynx version is obviously cut down. I just wanted to show it off, but yeah, we can have a quick look at the arcade Klax too. Klax. Which is apparently developed in 1989, even though it says, you know, it's got 1989 there, and it starts with, it is the 90s. Maybe, yeah, maybe they need horizontal for 2 players, but did many people play competitive Klax?
Klax Wave.
This was, I think, there's stories about how this was developed. I think, was it developed quickly on an Amiga and then just ported over to the arcade? Or something like that. It definitely sounds like it was put together in a bit of a rush. Every wave has different rules for passing, like some will require you to get horizontal, some require you to get vertical. And all of them require you to actually concentrate while you play. It's not so much a game you can play casually, at least I can't. Trying to play it without thinking, concentrating, you will fail. Also, I probably should not have tried to start on this round, to be honest. That's full. See, I've already messed this up quite badly. Never mind. Let's start in the first round instead. A 5-way diagonal. I'm not sure about that one. I'm not sure about that one. I don't know how to play.
Klax Wave.
Is the 5-way diagonal the actual cross? I don't know. Been a long time since I've sat down and played Klax, as you can probably tell. Klax is an interesting one for the Mega Drive port as well, because it's one of those games that got 2 ports. There's the Japanese version and the US version, which are separate ports. Amiga Basic, yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Mr. Fungi.
Klax Wave.
All right, thank you, Mog. You just mean a diagonal with 5 tiles. I don't think this is going to work. It requires me actually getting the... I've messed it up already. Anyway, thank you, Mog, for the extra 100 Swedish Corona. But yes, you are a better Klax player than I, which is not difficult. But that sounded more like Homer Simpson. I know a lot of people really don't like it. But as an answer to Tetris, it's more creative than Collins itself was. Yeah, I think it was developed in '89, and the copyright's '89, and it came out in 1990. But Atari did location testing and all sorts, so who knows when it hits the arcades? Hit the arcades. I mean, we've got the prototype version that's on Robot Monsters hardware, although it still only uses a single 68K. I thought that might be like a dual 68K version, but it's not. It just sounds like Hogan Simpson going, woo! Anyway. I could, it's one of the, you have to plan ahead. I mean, strangely, the whole view is very much Guitar Hero, isn't it? You look, you've got all these things coming towards you. They're not notes, but they're actually pieces in this case. It always reminds me of Guitar Hero when I play it. And again, Guitar Hero, you sort of got to be in two places at once studying things, and I can't play it very well. But yeah, I'm not great at Klax. It's one of the puzzle games I struggle with more than many of the others, in fact. Which might be why people don't like it. People might just go, they can't play it. I can't plan ahead enough. But yes, it's oddly Guitar Hero-like. I definitely didn't win a T-shirt. Yeah. The Note Highway had a software patent. Software patents are like that. I mean, say Namco got one on games while loading, even though there were Spectrum games that were doing it ages before and things like that. I think maybe Namco's was specific to CD. Well, lots of these patents are nonsense, if we're honest. But whatever. I don't know. Let's play a dodgy bootleg. Let's bring out Reactor 32 in 1. Now, this is one of the few things where one of the games doesn't work. No, so this isn't this one. This type, one of the ones in this drive has got a badminton game. It's one of the few Sun Plus games that crashes. No, not that. Here we go. Zoomer. This isn't in every version of this thing. I think because of, you know, PopCap and Mitchell going, we don't want that. But yes, this one has a Zoomer game in it, which is actually called Zoomer. And yes, it's just got this very annoying music. And very imprecise and bad controls. This is horrible. Doesn't even have proper sound effects by the way, so. Or maybe it's just not working properly. I don't know. We'll just have some. They're just a bit quiet compared to music. Now, unlike one of the games, I don't think you can just crash this one by spamming balls near the start. Because the VT1682 Zoomer game, if you just keep spamming balls near the start and rewind it past the rewind all the balls past the start position, you can actually crash the game, and you can do that in real hardware because I did it. But this is a Sun Plus based implementation. There are many different implementations of this game. It's one of the most cloned games of all times, I think. There's even some that don't work yet that I probably should start looking at again. Another one on VT1682 actually, which was sort of in a pocket organiser type thing with a keyboard that Taizo sent for dumping, but that actually seems to use the VT1682 sub-CPU for logic, and it doesn't like my hookup. So that I need to look at, plus, you know, keyboard emulation. But, yes, Puzzloop itself is a bit better. I just find it fascinating how often this thing was cloned and as Zoomer. There are so few of the clones that actually call it Puzzloop. There's, I think, one in one of the plug and plays calls it Puzzloop. But most call it Zoomer because that's what it ended up known as. If you say Puzzloop to somebody, they're like, what? Probably didn't help that on PlayStation it was like ballistics. I can insult this though, but if you play some of the 8-bit versions, is it the Gameboy one? Or it's that is rough. But yeah, this is just about followable Zoomer / Puzzloop with not very good controls. And very annoying music. And sound effects that are ripped straight from the original. Which again I think is it's one of the odd things. You find different versions in the plug and plays where there's one that's basically taken out all the music and most of the sound effects. I don't know if they've got a specific complaint for that. Anyway, I think we've seen enough of a Reactor Zoomer. I just thought, you know, have a bit of fun with that. Now this one, I'm having to use the version from the cracked soft list because the original still fails the copy protection. It just comes with a message telling you you're a very naughty pirate and you shouldn't be pirating the game. Which is kind of funny because it's just columns. But it will be loading. I have tested this one prior. It just, you know, we might have floppy noises in MAME, but we don't have CD noises. There we go. Columns. Reprogram by Telnet Japan. I'm changing the music. And that won't sound like columns. When talking about the OK Run, I must call it Atari games. I suppose I should, really, shouldn't I? But, so yeah, I've picked a different background music that nobody's going to be familiar with, but I mean, if you're going to play a different version of the game, it's not the arcade, you may as well choose a different music track. It's columns. The FM Towns. It's just more interesting because the original set still doesn't work because of the protection. It's one of the FM Towns games that's on floppy. No, actually, it was on floppy, but it's not CD. I said there's no CD there, and this is actually on floppy. So the FM Towns clearly just does not have floppy sounds hooked up. Not every driver in MAME does. This music definitely isn't as good as the bass track. You can talk a bit about the Tetris music later if you want. Hey Atom, welcome. The game audio is super loud. I'll turn it down a bit then. There we go. So it's always quite difficult to judge these things because it varies greatly from game to game. The music's too peaceful. But again, I wanted to show a different version. I wanted to bring up the FM Towns because people say the FM Towns is difficult to emulate, but MAME does a pretty good job of the FM Towns. I mean, most games run. If they don't, then like this one, maybe you need a cracked version. A few will glitch, but yeah, our FM Towns emulation is pretty solid, really. I think it's at least on par with any of the other more difficult to get running Japanese emulators. This one is maybe over peaceful though, Mog. Anyway, it's just columns. I mean, we played plenty of columns the other day. I don't want to spend too long in columns, but I thought it was worth showing. I'll show the what the original set does too as well. I imagine it's a case of the disc probably doesn't have the copy protection information on. You know, as is often the case with these Japanese discs, unfortunately. The preservation scene there is near enough non-existent. I don't know if the Mega Drive version has these extra tracks. It possibly does, because I imagine this is ported based on the Mega Drive than anything else. But yeah, let's just quickly look at what the other set says then. So try and load the original set instead, and yeah, it will load. So it comes up here, and then it tells you that you've been a very naughty boy. Yes, this program is preventing me from violating the law. I don't know. Was anybody that into copying columns? But there you go. Yeah, columns on the SNES. I've played that on stream before. Because that's one of the interesting ones. It's a Sega game on a Nintendo system. So, pardon me. Cosmo Gang the Puzzle. Pardon me. Now, Cosmo Gang itself is something else from Namco. It's more of a sort of mechanical game with aliens coming towards you that you shot, but they made a spin-off. Well, they made two spin-offs, one of them being the shooter that's a bit like Galaga 88, and the other being this puzzle game, which you may also know as Pac-Attack. So, the Penguin game I played yesterday kind of reminded me of this, although the Penguin game did have different mechanics. But again, to clear lines in this, you do have to get all the solid blocks, a bit like to unfreeze lines in the Penguin game, you had to get all ice blocks. But yeah, you get the aliens, and then every now and again an arrow will drop down and the arrow will clear out the aliens. You can see why naturally it made a fantastic Pac-Man game. In fact, the Pac-Man theme is far better than the Cosmo Gang theme, but they didn't go with the Pac-Man theme for the arcade, they went with the Cosmo Gang theme. I mean, it's still a good game, but I think they had a better thing going on when they did it as Pac-Man. Also, those trapped down there, I really need to free up, otherwise that will be a problem. As with every Namco game, great soundtrack. There you go. Pac-Attack's seen more re-releases than this because Pac-Attack's been on a bunch of Pac-Man compilations, it's been on plug-and-play devices, whereas this Cosmo Gang version, people don't really know as well. The direction of the arrow determines which way it moves. The Buzzsaw on the Spectrum, one of the multicoloured games that now works in MAME, is a clone of this. Same gameplay. Although again, it's probably more likely the author had played Pac-Attack, not this. It's one of those where it can be quite difficult to recover, because until you get the arrow shape, you are limited in certain things you can do. That was bad. It's very bad. Yeah, I probably failed. Yeah, Pac-Panic, Pac-Attack, Pac-Panic, same game. I know it's Pac-Attack. It was Pac-Panic in Europe, and CDI is European mainly, so yeah, it's Pac-Panic on the CDI too. Actually, you know what? Shall we see if it works? I don't know if this is going to work well, but let's see if the CDI version works. You're packed out from all this pack talk. So yeah, I was going to put the SNES version on, but Namco. Just hammer the buttons. Is this going to play badly with dodgy analog controls because it's a CDI game? I've never tried playing. I've played the CDI Tetris before. Okay, we've got different modes. I guess that's difficulty select. So yeah, I'm playing this on mouse, which I don't even know. Let's not play it on mouse. Oh, but we've got to play it on mouse, maybe. I don't know. It's not responding to keys. Now it's super quiet. Turn it back up again. It might just be my controls are not mapped. Oh, no, now it's responding to keys. I don't know. It's still an analog controller, so it's a bit awkward. This is running at full speed. Apparently this is running at full speed. It feels a bit slow. And the sound is cracking up. Yeah, I don't think this is running quite as it should. But the CDI emulation in MAME is not perfect. It's a very complex system to get right. There are more animations than this that I'm used to seeing. It's got music. The music is just kind of quiet and breaking up a bit. But it is running at 100% speed, so that is an emulation problem, I think. It says 100% speed, but this is definitely not 100% speed. You get the idea. It's the same game we were playing earlier, but with Pac-Man theme, and it was released on more platforms this way. I think it was only ever Cosmo Gang the Arcade officially in the arcade, although we will be looking at something else in a moment that carried that title. But yeah, this it almost feels like it's missing interrupts or something, because everything is slow and breaking up. But it's stable. I mean, that's for a while the CDI emulation wasn't especially stable. Now it's stable, which is good. It's getting there. I mean, Marga's done more work on the CDI emulation than pretty much anybody else, so no more. It's nice that it runs though. You can get an idea for it. Get an idea for what this version was like, and I'm sure one day it will run perfectly. That could also be the case, yes, Mark. It could be. It could be. I mean, power timings were very different. I think that might be why acid drop on the 2600 doesn't work. Maybe our NTSC timings are great, but our power timings are not, or something like that. Anyway, yeah, that was bonus. I was not originally going to be looking at that version. What I was going to be looking at, if I can find it in my list, is this one. Now, I think this might technically be Homebrew, because I got a date of, like, the date that seems a bit too late for a regular commercial release. I could be wrong, or my information could be wrong. So this says 1999 Dojin, so I think this is Homebrew. I just want to get rid of the outside. There we go. Hello. Smedis, you on your work break? Welcome. Dojin is homemade. Yeah, it's basically Homebrew. Now, I don't. If we know the manufacturer, you know, the developer, we should probably put that in there instead of Dojin. But yes, press any buttons. Okay. But yeah, somebody did a port of Cosmo Gang the Puzzle to the MSX2. So, normal sadism match abnormal custom. That'll do. Now it's very loud again. So it doesn't sound loud in my headphones, but I can tell it's loud on the meter. But there we go. Nice and colourful. Doesn't quite have the shine or polish of the original. But the MSX2 was actually, you know, a pretty decent platform. It was visually capable. There aren't many games that demonstrate it that well. Now it plays fast. I don't know if it plays too fast. I'm assuming it doesn't, because I think our MSX2 emulations are right. We don't do Turbo R. I think it's just faster because there's less effects going off and more just it's processing what it needs to process as quickly as it can process it. But it plays like Cosmo Gang. So not a bad little homebrew effort really. If you like your Cosmo Gang. It also means I can fail more quickly, as you can see. There are benefits all around. There we go. Can you not just like open every single file in a file editor and just replace them? Or use it more manual process? I'm sure you could write a script to replace them, because it's... I'm assuming this also has two-player mode if you had the second player and wanted the competitive mode. I don't think it's got any kind of versus CPU. Yeah, a decent home version of Cosmo Gang that is in the software list. That if you have an MSX, you may be interested in MSX too. I don't get to show much MSX stuff. And again, that's why I picked this one, because I wanted systems I don't get to cover very often. Systems maybe people don't know what we're capable of. You can see it's colourful. It's not your traditional MSX1 look where the palette's very limited. Your hardware sprites are even more limited. I had to use this specific machine to get proper audio, otherwise it just crackled. I don't know what it is about this MSX2 machine that allowed music, but some of them didn't give me any music. It took a little bit of research to actually get this running how I wanted it to run for streaming, which again is why I was a bit annoyed with myself that I missed out on it in the last stream. Hence why we have part 2. Purely things I'd researched that didn't end up on the stream. So we're going. I'm going to fail again. There's an add-on. Yeah, it is fan-made, Mr. Fungi. It is. And this is the MSX version, yes. I mean, specification-wise, what are we doing? What's this? Yeah, this MSX seems to have quite a few extra bits and pieces. That's like 2 sound chips, a DAC, a cassette. Yeah, that might be why there's music on it. Because the MSX was more a standard than a machine itself, so there are a whole bunch of different ones. Sony's last one, yeah, I think that might have been a 2+ machine. Don't know if Sony did any Turbo R machines. Right. Okay, let's quick look at this. This is a puzzle game. Konami's Kubrick. Now, I will be ranting about the machine named Johnson. Okay. Why is the machine called Johnson? Turbo R was just Panasonic. Makes sense. Turbo R was kind of well after the machine was ever going to be a success. So, Kubrick is a sliding tile puzzle game where you have your thing going around here. It takes away the trails. You go like that, you go like that, and you go... Indeed, Organic Soul. I'm probably going to look at that one shortly. That is one of the reasons I put this one on. I don't know why it's Kubrick. Honestly. You can speed up too. Is this still loud? That's not even showing it was loud in my meter. Did I ever say I hate sliding tile puzzle games? Yeah, I try and keep the meter on here at about 40 like that. So, I'm not drowning it out and it's not drowning me out. It's very difficult to judge. There's a reason The most interesting thing I know about this game is that it's one of those that is on 2 different pieces of hardware. The Japanese version and the US version run on entirely different hardware platforms. One of them's on Twin 16, one of them's on a dedicated platform. Okay, we'll continue. For some reason, Konami thought this game was worth basically porting to a different piece of hardware. Or maybe because the other piece of hardware was cheaper, or I don't know. It's not really what I expect for a puzzle game that's a slide tile game. But maybe it's like Tetris, which was on every piece of hardware under the sun. No, that's the wrong way to do that puzzle. That's the way to do it. Konami did like their little slide tile concept though. And then it gets more complex. It's like, yeah, whatever. Now I've actually got to think about it much more. Where this is why I just give up playing this. I don't. Yeah, Gotang. This feels like sort of almost a sequel to that. I guess these cross pieces do something, but I hate slide puzzle games. I really hate slide puzzle games. Yeah. Anyway. I was watching the Dave Ziramoto channel the other day, and he covered a game called Journey. Not Journey, Junction. Journey's an entirely different thing. So what is Journey? Journey is an arcade game with a band. What is Junction? Junction is kind of Kubrick, but not Kubrick. Not Journey, definitely not Journey. I don't know why I said Journey twice. But Junction, which is a much more sensible title. You see, it says the license from Konami in the corner. Konami 1990. And that is because it is essentially a very similar game. Except it's got a horrible... This is more like Locomotion, to be fair. Because you're using the edge pieces. You see. Konami and their slide puzzle games. If you happen to like slide puzzle games, I'm sure... There we go. Midway game the man Journey hated. And yeah, Micronet was also involved in this. But I don't think the 3D perspective here helps in the slightest. It makes it very difficult to see what is going on anywhere. I'm pretty sure if you hit the pyramid, it's bad, isn't it? Oh, the pyramid makes you jump. Okay. And those things around the edges are one use. Yeah, okay. Now, I thought I'd played, you know, every single Mega Drive game. Oh wait, I can't even do anything. The only chance I can move it within this little area here. What? Okay, the yellow things block you in. Yeah, I think you have to go through all the ones on the edge to make them all disappear. But you're blocked into that little area. You can't move you can't move the yellow tiles, so you could only move as certain as like few in that area. But yeah, I thought I played every single Mega Drive game when I did Haze MD back in the day, the Mega Drive emulator. But then Zilog and Moto covered this on their channel, and I'm thinking, I've never played that game before. They you know, they found a Mega Drive game that for some reason I'd missed. I think that will kill me, won't it? Yeah, that will kill me. I lost a red ball. Try the screen again. The gold ones you can move. I couldn't move the gold ones. Does this block me? Oh, it changes direction. Okay. It's not the end of the road. So it's more complex in some ways than locomotion or... No, that's... It's still a slide puzzle game though, and I still hate slide puzzle games. Heavy Nova was a bit of a mess, wasn't it, Orgaso? I see you've got the Journey puns in there, Mog. Yes. And play the Japanese version. It's a Konami game, maybe. I think the Japanese version has different levels, in fact, Cow. You're probably right. I remember playing the Japanese version before, and it started with different levels. Because, you know, Konami being Konami. So I just wanted to show that one because, again, I do watch some of these other streams and find things out, or videos in this case, not a stream. And then it's like, wait, I'd never seen that game before, and it's on the Mega Drive. How? What? But yeah, that was a discovery for me. But as mentioned in the chat earlier, there was an X68K game of it with a really silly title. The gold ones you can't move. No. That's what I was thinking, Aussie guy. If you like slide puzzle games, I'm sure you'd love it. But as we found trying to play Aggress yesterday, it's like, I don't like slide puzzle games. So Cueb Runner with cube spelt this way, and then the arcade version is Cubric. I don't know if this is a typo, if this is intentional. But yeah, this is Cubric with the title of Cueb Runner. I need the pad, don't I? Where did I put it down? Yeah. And yeah, when I was testing this one before, the text layer was offset, but I did see that Crazy C, who fixed the keeper bug, put in a fix for layer offsets on X68K for a different game, and apparently it has also fixed this. So there you go. This works better than when I was testing it a few days ago. I don't know if you deleted the note in the software list that says there is a bug with the offsets, but clearly that bug has now been fixed. So that's another win for MAME 68K and X68K emulation. Sharp ported it. Yeah, the font was kind of horrible. No. The controls are different to the arcade too, slightly. Copyright thing? Yeah, why Cueb? I mean, I know the arcade was Cubric, which is a very weird title. These are the same levels as the version we played, aren't they? So I'm going to get the same place and fail again. Oh no, this is a different level, you see. I think the American version just gives you a really horrible level early on. You know, typical Konami style. So I seem to remember seeing this level in the arcade when I played the Japanese set. Unless it's a pun, but maybe it's a typo, or maybe I just don't know. What does the star do? Bonus. There we go. This is probably a mistake. A grave mistake, because it's a sliding puzzle. Did I ever say I hate slide puzzle games? But I can just do this, and that's actually easy. Yes, full throttle on the X68K is not good as it can. Not good at all. I said it 7 times. Good. I hope everybody knows that then. Oh, an animated background. And we've also got one of this is the horrible level. Yeah, but that's enough of that. I wanted to check if the offset fixes fixed it. The offset fixes fixed it. Also, it's got a silly title. That's all you need to know about Cueb Runner or Cueb Runner on the X68K, or that game in general. If I was torturing myself right now, I would put on Locomotion 2. No, it's not happening. What will I put on instead, though? Yes, that one. Doki Penguin Land. Now, this is an arcade game that is based on the SG-1000 hardware. There is an enhanced version on the Master System and a Mega Drive port, but this is the version the arcade got. So the goal is to get the egg to the bottom without cracking the egg. This is not a slide puzzle game. It's a roll egg game. Go away. Let me roll my egg in peace, please. There we go. Get heart. How do I get stuff through here? Or can't I? I've messed this up already, haven't I? Yeah, this is basically SG-1000 version, but in the arcades. The problem is this version is also a bit more aggressive because it's an arcade game, so the things that come for you... No, stop it. Stop it. Okay. Yeah, this version is harder than I remember. No. I still can't get it down far enough. Ahem. I'm able to. I'm able to dig through the yellow grates. Right. That's what I'm forgetting. It's been a while since I played it. Yeah, they're very proud of beating up this penguin who just wants to get an egg back somewhere. So I can dig through the yellow. Okay, yeah, that's what I was forgetting about this. I can't go through them. Right. Ah, now who's cheering? Oh, you're not. And yes, you can break your own egg. Eggs are surprisingly fragile. Who would have thought? Yeah, you landing on them doesn't help though. No, that's not what I wanted to do. Can't do anything now, can I? No. You spent the... Yeah, I played the ports more than this. This clearly is throwing you in the deep end. I don't know if they just thought everyone's going to have played the port, so we'll just start with it a bit more difficult than we might have otherwise. But it's kind of got that whole load runner thing going on, where you're having to plan how you dig your holes, which I failed to do here. There we go. I'm assuming this is one of the later levels if you're playing a port. Oh, I got pushed into my egg and then my egg... Yeah, this penguin is getting quite hurt. It's interesting that Sega did just put the SG-1000 hardware in the arcades, because it's very much a home platform. I guess for a puzzle game, maybe they thought it's fine. You know, the game concept is what holds up. The same way we got, you know, the Mega Drive system C2 hardware. But the SG-1000 is not a powerful system. I think I was better off going the way I went before, to be honest, but too late now. Make it cheap, you know, if the game fails, it doesn't matter. There we go. It's this part I struggle with. I can't drop it on this thing's head, can I? Same again. I've obviously got to get under there and knock that block from well, there's Duck Maze on the NES Famicom. I've not played Duck Maze. Should I play Duck Maze? If I play Duck Maze, should we try going this way again? Not that I think it's going to make any difference by the time we get to the bottom. No, 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 no. I think they should have started with an easier level. Just a gut feeling here. This feels like, you know, one of those Puzzled Upon R, where they've made it intentionally more difficult. So play Puzzled Upon R next. Let's play Puzzled Upon R next. I've gone this way again. Why did I do that? Yeah, never mind. I can't complete the first level on that. Not that version. So Puzzled Upon R. For a long time, this was just set as a clone MAME, even though it was released 2 years later and had a unique number. It is no longer set as a clone. That egg is not getting home. That egg is making breakfast, I think. I can dig the rock onto, so I can crush the enemies with a rock. Okay, I probably should have done that. Yeah, the boxing and wrestling. I mean, those boxing and wrestling games are kind of famous, aren't they? Because significant. Because what's the first game that the Outrun guy did? I can't remember the name. So very much Puzzle Bobble, not Puzzle Bobble. This is I've talked about like Flash Columns and Flash Tetris. This is Flash Puzzle Bobble, basically. You know, your entire goal is to free the piece. And a lot of people don't like it. It's very rare I see anything nice written about this game. Yu Suzuki, that's one. Yes, yeah. Now the name. Now you mentioned the name. Yes. I believe they were his first games. So, interesting. They got arcade releases, even if they really don't look like arcade games. Yeah, I don't know what the obsession with these sort of flash/target versions of games were. Because you end up not playing them like you played the proper games. Because you're just too focused on one goal. Which means you've not got all the nice scoring mechanics. You've not got all that stuff. It's perfectly playable. It's perfectly good. But I just find it odd. I mean, why wasn't this just a mode in Puzzle Bobble? That would make more sense to me. And then with Columns 2, why wasn't there a regular mode in it? Flash Columns is terrible. But yeah, Puzzle Dupont R is basically a harder set of levels for Puzzle Dupont. It was released as its own game in 1997, probably because it was cheap to do so. And did it need a harder set of levels, a new set of levels? I don't know, but it got one. Should I have played the harder set of levels? Probably not. It means I can move on to the next game more quickly because I fail. Oh yeah, there's a timer. Did I say there was a timer? I probably didn't say there was a timer. There's a timer. You're against the clock. Which means you can't do what I've been doing and just go... Nice to remind you there's a timer too with the chime. I would definitely rather play this over slide puzzles. I'm happy to play this. This is got the basis of a good game. It's just kind of a more stressful version of Puzzle Bobble. I'm just a bit confused as to why Visco did this and it wasn't just in Puzzle Bobble. Yeah. I can't do anything with blue because I've messed everything up too badly on. I've even got the aiming arrow. The aiming arrow will not. The aiming arrow is a bit off compared to Taito's aiming arrows. That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to blame the aiming arrow. The aiming is not quite the same as Puzzle Bobble. That should do it. It's that it's all about, it's all these star signs and things like that, which again Japan seem to like. We can get another game with which quite heavily based on such things shortly. But the other game is too easy. I'm sure this is going to be another stream where I look at the end and go, I really didn't play half the games I wanted to play. So let's go there. Let's go there. Again, I mean, people don't talk about this in the same way they talk about Gurren on the Neo Geo. It's like, oh, it's terrible, why is it on the Neo Geo? But neither this nor Puzzle Bobble really needed to be on the Neo Geo. They don't use the hardware in any meaningful way. But they were also popular with certain audiences, so I think they have a place. I like puzzle games. This isn't one I play much because I personally rather just play Puzzle Bobble. I don't think it's bad. So, I think when back in the day, when Neo Geo emulation was quite new, probably played more of this one. Don't know why. I just enjoyed this one more than Puzzle Bobble at the time. Kind of relaxing, but also stressful. The puzzles are stressful, the theme is relaxing. But Fisco is such a strange company. So many bad games, the odd really good game. You never really know. But yeah. And the timer is what gets you on this game, though. That is what with infinite time, it would be a lot more relaxing. And now they are undead. You like even this Bubble Buster move game with the disembodied hands? You mean Bubble Buster, the one that was meant for the US audience? Atom. Asuka and Asuka is one of Bisco's bad titles. Yeah, that's one of the shooters, isn't it? That doesn't play too well. Ganru is terrible. Captain Tomaday has some of the worst programming I've seen in the Neo Geo and just runs unbearably badly. But yeah, okay, so yeah, there's that whole star signs and everything else theme, which was also present in this unreleased game called Calcune, which uses 2 Mega Drive VDPs. This is basically a doubled up video hardware Genesis. You wouldn't be able to tell. Oh, you mean Andrew Dunas 2? Yeah, that's the license is there. That's a pretty good game, actually, Andrew Dunas 2. Have that one. So, Calcune, even. Which you can see, it's got the same sort of visual style as Puzzled Upon R. It's got all the star signs and everything else. Yeah. Ganro 2 is not good, though. Well, at least the Switch version isn't. Runs really badly. So, yeah. This has really laggy gameplay. And, well, basically it's kind of similar to Money Puzzle Exchanger. You know, you join up numbers and they turn into different numbers, or they no, is it? I can't remember. Do the numbers change? It's been a while since I played it. I thought the numbers changed if you combine them. Oh, no, they add up. They add up in this one. So yeah, that they make the number. See, it made that one into 6 below. Unfortunately, this is one of those where the AI really doesn't do anything. You lose mainly by your own hand rather than the AI actually ever beating you. Which, again, it's probably why it didn't get released. I can't see this making any money. Yeah, they're not somebody you'd associate with actual arcade games. How is this using 2 Mega Drive VDPs? It looks like it could be running on a Z80 and a single tile map for how well it moves. So yeah, they probably just didn't have the talent there, and just threw extra tech at it, and still didn't manage to come up with a game that was really compelling. Some of the art's okay, the background art, character art, but it's one of those where, you know, you can tell why it didn't get released. I'm not going to play it for too long. Some characters that look like they probably belong in a Chiraniki. If you select those 2 characters, which may be the highlight of the game. But again, you see, I'm not really playing it exceptionally well. I'm just matching things and surviving, not making any big change. The computer's just sort of aimlessly doing nothing. And that is how this game goes. It's one that I'm glad is emulated, like all prototypes. But yeah, you don't want to sit down and play it, do you? Maybe one day a more complete prototype. I doubt it went anywhere, to be honest. I think this is the version that they developed. There's another really bad puzzle ball from the Mega Touch XL. Mega Touch is a bit annoying to run sometimes. I might have a look at it. I might try them off stream and see if I can get them running. Here are your characters that probably belong in Choroniki. Just two muscle men with weirdly creepy smiley faces who will flex when they do things which they're probably not going to do because the computer is useless. In fact, this is just where I drop all the pieces down and kill myself off. You never know with Visco games, Mr. Fungi. You never know. Pure math. Yeah. There we go. I failed on purpose. There we go. Maybe they needed 3D. Maybe they needed 5 VDPs. Mr. Fungi. I really don't know. Maybe they just... Is that somebody in a cow suit? That looked very cow-like. Is that going in the cow spotting on the Discord, or is the cow suits not count as cows? I think I might have to go in cow spotting just for the cow suit. Okay. Let's drag out the PlayStation. For a game I could have played from the arcades, but, well, not this version. Moo. Moo. So, Jewelriss. That's kind of an ugly FMP. Right. I think this probably moans about something. Maybe memory cards. It's in Japanese, I don't know. So, the arcade's got the first 3 of these. After that, it went console. No, what am I doing? Magical Drop F, indeed. I don't know why the arcades didn't get anything after 3, but again, you've got a very a tarot card theme here, haven't you? So kind of similar. Let's play as Death. Yeah, we have 6 now. 6 is getting a physical release as well. I've not got Cooler World set up at the moment, unfortunately. Otherwise, yeah, I might look at that one. So Magical Drop is your push. You pull things to the bottom and you put them back up. You can actually hold an unlimited number of anything, which is probably the unique mechanic, really. You can... I can hold as many of the greens, but only the greens. So you can't change colour once you start pulling one up. And that is what makes Magical Drop, really. You've got to play fast, you've got to throw things up, you've got to place things in the right place to help you later. The art style reminds you of Pure Sun. And the art style on this one is very different to the art style in the earlier Magical Drop games, I have to say. This is almost got a more serious look to it. The earlier ones were very cartoony. So I'm assuming this is an entirely different artist to the older games. Yeah, if you pull 3 down, you can just put 3 back up and it will make them disappear because you only need 3. That was good AI. The old game is more flat, yes. This almost looks pre-rendered, even though obviously the backgrounds are hand-drawn. That was a very fast KO. I wasn't expecting it that fast. But the actual game objects do look pre-rendered here, rather than sprite work. I think it might be on easy, or the first levels are just too easy. You need this for your Japanese PS1. Yeah, Japan got quite a lot of, say, good PS1 games we didn't get. Yeah, I do like the character. That's why I picked this version, because I really like the character art they've gone for. I mean, I like the original character art, but this stands out. I do have to make these choices sometimes, like which versions I bring up. And again, showing that MAME does run these things. I don't know why some random PlayStation games you would have thought would work fine just fail though. It's a bit of a mystery. Decided it wanted to be slightly more challenging. There we go. The PS1 did have a lot of odd stuff. I mean, it was one of those generations where I think developers had a lot of freedom to just do what they wanted and put things out, at least in Japan. I mean, have you seen how much of the Japanese PS1 library is pachinko and slot machine simulators? Because when I was going through through the Japanese library, it's like, okay, so another group of like 10 random slot machine simulators. And none of those Japanese slot machines are dumped. Those old ones, basically. So I don't know. Yeah, let's just lose on purpose because, you know, there we go. But yeah, it's got a ton of them. It's a completely different library than we had over here. But yeah, Magical Drop F on the PlayStation is a very good version of Magical Drop, which is worth checking out if you like Magical Drop. And what time we're on? We are on 2 hours, 21 minutes. Right. Okay, so let's just bring up the Monon Colour. This is one of the ones that I emulated last year on a rather fast 8-bit CPU, a derivative of an 8-bit CPU with some extra 16-bit opcodes and all sorts of stuff, and where we had to extract an internal ROM. It was quite a journey, this one, but it's got a bunch of puzzle games. You wouldn't think this was running on basically 100 MHz CPU, but it is. Unfortunately, say we've got no way to dump the audio CPU because every cartridge has got an audio MCU on it with all the tunes for that game on. And you know, we looked for every exploit we could. I mean, Peter, if he's still in the chat, was trying everything on those boards that he could to try and see if there was a way to get them to dump out the internal ROM, but there really isn't. Yeah, this is from mid-2010s, believe it or not. So it's got a bunch of puzzle games on. This one's just get from 1 to 2. There's a game on the Gameboy that's pretty much the same as this, isn't there? But yeah, it's a more powerful platform than you realise. But all the games basically go through a sort of bytecode interpreter. It's almost like, you know, it's not Flash, but it is a similar type of idea. So it's super inefficient. So that's why they run badly. I think they were designed to be easy to program, but it's just ridiculously inefficient. I don't know if we'll ever get to the bottom of the music stuff, because the decaps didn't really show much useful. Much like the card reader decaps didn't show that much that we could work with. No visible bits or anything like that. No exploits. So I'm hoping that enough people are hoarding like every cartridge that if one day a solution comes up, we have every cartridge to go, you know, okay, now we can get them dumped and the audio can be emulated. I'm pretty sure it's a common Sunplus audio solution, because Sunplus did a lot of that kind of, you know, audio MCU for toys, and that's basically what ended up in the cartridges here, just a dedicated audio chip to play music. The hardware, it's kind of software rendering, but it does it in vertical columns, and it's not got like complex tile maps or anything else, so it's basically software rendering, but it's weird software rendering. These are the early levels, Toastman Jack. It does get more complex as you go. And I think this is one of those systems you're meant to sort of buy and play the games a little bit each day, get to more difficult levels. But these early levels, yeah, they're pretty simple, as you can see. It was one of the more interesting things I've had to work on emulating recently. I was just expecting it to be a complete, you know, a simple frame buffer, just output the pixels over a DAC, maybe like the mini Pac-Man, the micro Pac-Man things. But it is more complex. There is a video format going on where it's sending commands to draw like basically two different layers and things like that. But yeah, you get the idea. This is Ultimate Brain Challenge, which has its own Chinese name. But yeah, it was a fun one to emulate, and the puzzle games kind of hold up better than the action games because they don't need quick responses so much. But I don't want to play too much of it because I don't think it's something that entertaining to watch. But yeah, it's a platform with a bunch of puzzle games on. So yeah, I'm playing some real classics here, Pirate Gamer Boy. You are correct. Absolute 100%. Everybody knows these. Can't beat them classics. I mean, shall we do another? Do I really want to subject you to that? I mean, we could go with the MIllennium Arcade 250. Oh, we could. With 5 game zones. Let's go to other games, because that's where the real treasures lie. So, do you want a game called Puzzle? No, we don't. Russian blocks. I wonder what that could be. Santa Claus. He's puzzling. Hit mouse. Don't want any of these. Cow, go home. No, don't go home, cow. Stay here. Puzzle pieces. There we go. Well, puzzle pieces. So, taking it to a very literal extreme, here is a puzzle game. A jigsaw puzzle game. So, you know, there are some of these on other platforms. I think the Saturn's got a whole collection of jigsaw puzzle games, and maybe the PlayStation has too. But inevitably, some of these janky plug and plays got puzzle games as well. So yeah, we can do a jigsaw puzzle if that was what you dreamed of doing. And yes, it gradually gets more difficult with more pieces. Believe it or not, this is probably one of the more competently programmed things in this unit. Let's see, we get more pieces. There is interesting content in these devices. Not necessarily good, but you know, since I did spend quite a lot of time emulating them, trying to source them and everything else, I do kind of like to show that they've been emulated, even if people aren't going to probably ever want to play them. Ooh, over here. There we go. So, you know, I'm just doing jigsaw puzzles on a puzzle stream. Now, this is the same plug and play that has got a load of games where the graphics appear to have been just captured from a VCR or, you know, AV outputs or something, and then that footage has been used directly to make reproductions of games on other plug and plays. It's really weird. I mean, that Cow Go Home one is just like that. The game is in a lot of the other plug and plays, but the version on here just basically has what look like, you know, graphics that have been captured with the capture card and then just pasted in the game. Very, very strange. So, yeah, I don't think I need to spend too long playing this, do I? In fact, my view count is probably dropping every minute I'm playing this because people are going, why are you doing this? Why are you putting us through this? But you know, it's one of the many things that MAME does today. There we go. It goes there. It goes there. That goes. No. Goes further on, isn't it? So yeah, I don't know how many puzzles that there are on this. Still putting things in the wrong places. This goes in. It goes there. Yeah, that's what I thought it went. But it's a jigsaw puzzle. It's a jigsaw puzzle. Yes, plain and building. Oh no. Now some planets. Is this going to have more pieces? Have we reached our limit of a number of pieces? Yeah, this is the same number of pieces, I think. Maybe, possibly. I don't know. Maybe it's a few more. It's 20-piece jigsaw puzzle. I mean, if you want a 20-piece jigsaw puzzle on your TV, there you go. But I just thought I'd show it because why not? And while we're on, you know, random systems, go here too. The Gamate, or Gamate, I don't know how you want to pronounce it. Quality jigsaw puzzle simulation. So, what do we have here? Well, we have a game called Jewelriss. No, Jewelriss. Got a jolly little tune. It's got a very Nintendo-like presentation. And we appear to be back at columns, just Gamate columns. Columns again. Yes, there are quite a lot of columns clones. You know, the Game Boy had Tetris, the Gamate had columns. Why not? I mean, say the Gamate stuff is interesting because it's all originally programmed. It's not bootleg games. Some of the implementations are even quite good considering the hardware is, well, rather limited. You know, compared to say the Supervision and the Game Master, there's some quality to be found in here. Dare I say? If you wanted to play columns again, there are definitely worse ways to play columns. Well, I mean, there are worse named clones. If I can't remember what sets they're in. There's There's a Tetris game called Pac-Maze in one of the plug and plays. Yes, I don't know why there's a Tetris clone called Pac-Maze, but there was a Tetris clone called Pac-Maze. It's in one of the VT1682 things. I should have probably noted it down so I could play it, but maybe if there's a part 3, you'll have to wait until then. Yeah, it's an okay Columns clone. Don't want to spend too long on it because there are better things to play, but again, I guess, you know, the Game Mate is a system I worked with Peter on the emulation of, improving it. You know, Peter made a lot of technical notes, I helped implement them. So it's one of those interesting little ones to me personally. I wouldn't have hated having one of these back in the day. I mean, if you had one back in the day and you still get your cartridges, you probably got sitting on a fortune, because like any rare system, they sell for a fair bit now. Ballon Brothers, another Tetris type. Yeah, okay, so yeah, we've got another handheld Columns clone. Now, while we're on handhelds, yeah, let's do the trivia. The original Game Boy release of Tetris did not have the tune everybody knows. This is probably the Japanese release. Revision 0. This was the Tetris music in the original version of the Game Boy Tetris. This was changed before it reached our shores. So everybody thinks, you know, Tetris, you've got the iconic music. That wasn't originally going to be the case. That came later. That came after the game had been released. It was changed in a later revision. Now, the version everybody knows is by far the most common version. But it makes me wonder, would Tetris on the Game Boy have caught on the way it did with this tune? Or is this tune just not got that same level of appeal? And it's still a very solid Tetris port. You can tell why people like this version of Tetris. It plays fantastically well. But yeah, it does not feel right with this music, does it? But this is how it was originally going to be. This is your first version, and it does sound like a classic folk song, which is probably fitting of Tetris. But it doesn't seem right when you know how Tetris should sound, or did sound. It's like playing one of those modern re-releases of game where they've changed the music for licensing reasons. I don't know why the music was changed in this case, by the way. Maybe somebody in the chat knows, but I couldn't find any 100% definite answers. This is his favourite version. Does he like this music better then, or just, do you mean this Tetris game? So East Technology, who did Ballon Brothers, they have the president as Rollertron. Same president as Rollertron. What did Rollertron do? Shall I put you all out the misery and just, yeah, okay, that is the, okay, that was the original revision, and obviously the version everybody knows. He likes the Game Boy version, not specifically the Game Boy version with the tune nobody knows. But there you go. This is the tune everybody knows. This is the version that we got outside of Japan. The version where everybody starts humming the tune because they know it and it's so catchy, and just I don't know if it's a perfect tune for Tetris, or it's just I've heard the tune associated with Tetris so often it feels like the perfect tune. This is not the perfect Tetris play then. This is Tetris Art version. I'm intentionally misplacing the pieces just to make some art. Okay. This is the worst I've ever played Tetris. I'm even going to get one line. I've got one line. There we go. If you don't concentrate when you're playing Tetris, you do this. The music must be putting me off. Oh, I just, you know, like a challenge. I like to play recovery Tetris. No, I don't. I hate trying to recover bad situations in Tetris. But it means, you know, I'm not going to be playing the games long. Oh, can't rotate that now. You like the music in the NES version better? Rollertron sold Minky Monkey, Scrambled Egg and Domi for Technos Japan. Ah, okay. Domi being a very good game, but not a puzzle game, unfortunately. Well, yeah, that's a strange little bit of Tetris trivia that back in the day I don't think anybody really knew about, but has since been shared online quite often, so people are more aware of it at this point in time. Looking at the arcade, yeah, okay. So let's go back to Video System and their sort of early 90s attempts to bring puzzle games from elsewhere to the arcades. And this time, Pipe Dream. LucasArts copyright. Original game by a UK company, apparently. My skills have been consistent. This is true. Some games I can talk and play, other games I can't. Lucasfilm Games present that looks so strange on an arcade game. Namco sold it for Video System. Pipe Dreams. Another game that was cloned quite often. But yeah, I do appreciate what Video System were trying to do, really. Just bring games that were popular on the home systems to the arcades somewhat. I don't know. Not really what I want to do, is it? Okay. Yes, let's do that. Well, the pirates might have more dreams. You never really know. You get bonus for one cross. There are quite a lot of games involving pipes back in the day. I mean, probably even in the arcade. There's Frisky Tom. That's another pipe game, although not the same kind of pipe game. Pieces. Oh. No, that's not useful. So if right there, kind of helpful, this one. It tells you what's going to be happening. Oh, that's bad. I don't do that. I want to do that. What? Oh.
Oh no.
Oh dear.
Just relax.
Just relax. Oh, I have to do more pieces, don't I? I didn't do enough pieces. Check out Pipeline. That's got adult imagery, I believe, that I have to be careful of. So yeah, you have a number of piece target, which I forgot about. So if you don't use enough pieces, you'll fail that, like I just did there. That is the piece I'm... I don't think spamming these is the right way to do it, because it does reduce your time more quickly. I think it does. Yes, you can plan ahead and look at the pieces that are coming, but, you know, when have I been doing that in these streams? Come on. This is an odd one, I think. I think this is a Z80 based game with the video chip you usually find on 68K based games. So a bit of an unusual lookup. I wonder if they went for Z80 because some of the other home versions were Z80, or another reason. The video system tended to use more 68Ks. That is probably just the water we get in the UK after the sewage has been pumped into it, Atom. No, that is the state of our country now. I don't know what the special pieces do. Can't remember. But yeah, I remember getting this one hooked up again after reworking the video system. Video emulation was a bit annoying because of the way in which they hooked up the chip. Was not as straightforward as it should have been. What am I doing? I really should be doing the loops, but I don't know what I'm doing. At least it does tell you where the flow's going to go. At least for now. Probably won't in a bit. Yes, I am trying to hurry, thank you. I just need the right pieces. Hopefully that's good enough. There we go. You're off to sleep, all right? Well, take care, and I will hope to see you on the next one. Thank you for being here, as always. Yeah, Cash It Tube, it was another one with lots of sort of tube type systems. Atari Sparks is kind of similar. There were a few tubes and things kind of popular. Loops on the home systems sort of had lots of tubes, although you didn't get to flow through them. You just had to loop that, you had to connect the ends. But yeah, a bit of pipe dreams. One that came from the home systems and ended up in the arcades rather than the other way around, which is fairly rare, but we've had a look at a few of them today. Shall we look at the emulated one? Now, we've covered this a fair bit recently because it's just been emulated to Connie Tako from Mitchell. System 10 game. Oh, and this is clearly set to English because it's got the Crystal Tech license. But this is your thing. I think this tends to be called the Good Octopus these days when you see talk about it. I don't know if there was ever a version with that title that just didn't get released. But when the talk was of Mitchell licensing it out and a bunch of the other IP, all the press releases said the Good Octopus is available for licensing, which is odd because, you know, as far as I know, there's no version with that title in English unless somebody just translated a press release. I don't know. But yeah, you've seen this one quite a bit in recent streams. It's a case of pick up barrels and toss them in the other direction, or in the same direction. It's a very difficult one to play after playing Magical Drop, because your natural instinct is to try and pick up multiple pieces, and then you end up just throwing them away. So that is something to keep in mind. Switching between this and Magical Drop is definitely a way to try your sanity. Again, I just did that. I threw it the wrong direction. So I'm in Magical Drop mode. Now this kind of looks like, also at times, that it's meant to be widescreen. I don't know why. Some of the things that are round, meant to be round, aren't very round. Like the clocks there. It looks almost like they've been squashed. But as far as I know, it wasn't meant to use a widescreen monitor. You know, arcade cabinets didn't really. So I guess it's just how they did the art. Something on the left. Oh, sorry, I was trying to read the chat. That's not clever. There we go. Yeah, there's a lot of inconsistencies in old MAME code and things that, well, you know, there were a lot of people working on them, and there's things that evolve over time, conventions that have evolved over time. I mean, even today, some of what's recommended conflicts with what I'm being told elsewhere and to do, and good practices seem different wherever you go. It's one of those things. Sometimes you try and write code which you think will meet a standard, and then you find out you've wasted time when the simpler option is what would have been accepted. I don't know. I think it's one of the reasons I'm not a huge fan of coding. There's too many ways of doing things that everybody's going to have a different opinion. But yeah, you will have seen me play this one a fair bit, because I kind of like it, and it's basically a lost Mitchell puzzle game until it just got emulated again. Because by this point Mitchell were struggling, so it didn't really see much distribution. Anyway. Yeah. Anyway, fair to say, we've seen a fair bit of that one, but it's worth highlighting because it's a recently emulated one, where if you've not watched the previous streams or videos, you may have missed it. So you'll need the latest version of MAME to run this. And I would recommend giving it a try. We do not have much time left. Yeah, sorry, I think the value of MAME is mostly what people have discovered as well. I mean, not everybody's been an expert programmer, but a lot of the discoveries are going to last many, many years, even through however many refactors. So, what shall we go for now? There's, I've got a whole list of SNES games here, and we've basically not touched the SNES. Yeah, there's probably going to have to be another stream if we're going to cover half of this lot. So, let me just try and pick something simple enough for the last like 10 minutes. Delete that out there because we've done that. delete that because we've done that. Okay. Oh, okay. I was going to play Balloon. Oh my god! But we can do Ballon Brothers by request of Aussie Guy. Well, cleanups every now and again do help. Yes. If somebody new is coming to the code base, then it helps to have some consistency, not 20 years of different standards. So this is upside down Tetris. The main issue I've had trying to get people to contribute lately is MAME using sort of too many newer standards for C++, and they just don't understand it. So go, you know, I want to contribute, not have to learn all these new language features, which I don't know. It's one of the areas in which RetroArch and stuff were appealing to people more because they were trying to keep everything working with older tools, but it's a complex debate. But quite often the people just go, don't understand all this code, this is barely the C++ I recognise, I'll do something else instead. Unfortunately. So yeah, it's upside down Tetris with not really Tetris shapes. It's I'll be honest, I've never really spent much time playing this. I don't know why the balloons change colour as you rotate them. This just seems like as bare bones as you're going to get. Unless I'm missing something significant with the gameplay. It also feels very unnatural playing upside down Tetris. One-piece blocks in this type of game always seem pointless. I mean, does anybody really need a one-block piece? In fact, the pieces here in general are too small. Again, Tetris works because the Tetris shapes naturally provide a good level of balance. You make bigger ones, it doesn't really work. You make smaller ones, it doesn't really work. I will note there's no next piece display here, which I don't know, to me that's kind of important in Tetris game, but I suppose when you're dealing with these smaller pieces, it's less important. But, I'm missing something, Aussie Guy. Is this just the game? Because to me, this has always just been the game. Yeah, this just feels like something you'd find on, say, a bootleg plug and play. In fact, I'm pretty sure there's something almost identical on them. But East Technology, yeah, they didn't do that much good, did they? I don't think Double Dragon 3 was an exceptionally bad game from them. It's just their standards were not always that high. The well is the same colour. So there's a sort of combo system I'm missing. Maybe, yeah, maybe if I paid attention to that combo system, then it might feel like there's more game here. But I'm sure what most people did back in the day would be just try and play it like upside down Tetris. Inexperienced. Well, probably. The demo explains it better. Okay, let's have a look at the demo then. Okay. Speed up the demo. Time one. We're almost on 10 o'clock and we're almost on 3 hours. So yeah, that's a good one. So form lines with any colour. Colours of each pattern will change. It tells me experienced players do that. So yeah, okay. I'm still not that clear on it. Do the colours cycle naturally? When 3 lines are formed, 2 different colours disappear. Why did the greens disappear? But the lines have all got to be one colour for that to happen. Okay, yeah, okay, I see it. I see what the difference is, which I never picked up on before. So it's not just upside down Tetris, there is a colour element to it, which I missed entirely. Yeah, they cycle with the turn, but they don't cycle independently. Do they always go through the same colour order? Okay, yeah, there is more to it then. I probably shouldn't just write it off as upside down Tetris as I have done over the years. Which also maybe makes sense why there are single block pieces, yeah. Okay. Maybe this is one to come back to another time then, now I actually know the rules. Because I didn't know the rules before. Yeah, I'll have a think about it. But I'm not going to play it anymore today because that would probably take us over the work. We're at the 3 hours to be honest, and I'm going to end on one more game, which is the one I was going to play before that, which is Oh My God from Atlas. Yeah, Atlas. Atlas mainly known for publishing things like cave shooters, and these days games like Persona. Not so much for puzzle games. So your pieces basically come down in a snaky pattern, and then you have to match 3. Which is, again, a very different way of introducing the pieces into the playfield. And one that takes a bit of getting used to, otherwise you will just very, very quickly fail. This is what I like to see in puzzle games. It's you know, when the developers try to use a simple concept just to completely change how a game plays. That is exactly what you got with this one. Although, as you can see, it isn't the easiest to play if you're not Not used to it. You're doing great. Snake Pure Pure. Yes, it is. This guy, yeah. Yes. And quite a few others. Let's have it another try. Let's go one more time. I said before, I think my favourite snake type game like this is actually Wild Snake rather than this one. But Wild Snake is, well, it's mostly on the consoles. There's an unreleased Mega Drive version and a released SNES version, but no arcade version. Yes. What am I trying to do? Not that. Not that. I love the fact the game's trying to backseat me. I'm still getting confused. Yeah, okay, not that. I'm trying to overthink it now and not getting my combos at all. There we go. Level clear. More people watching than likes? I don't pay that much attention to the likes, but thank you for reminding people, because I think it does still influence how YouTube promotes the videos and all that nonsense, which it probably shouldn't, but does. So no. Yeah. So yes, a very blasphemous arcade game this. Oh. No, I failed. There were 19 people watching after 3 hours is pretty good. 3 hours of me consistently failing at puzzle games for the most part. That is a very IGS font. That reminds me of the PGM fonts. It always has done. I think it's because it's wide font with a fade like that in the middle. You know, it's highlight in the middle. I don't think IGS had any involvement in this. Also, the yellow is a very... the numbers down the side. It's an IGS colour scheme and an IGS star font. I doubt IGS was involved in this. Anyway, and I did say that was the last game because we are now on 3 hours and 6 minutes. Will there be a part 3? Looking at this list, I'm going to say probably. It might be tomorrow, it might not be tomorrow. Depends what I end up doing tomorrow. But yeah, there's still an absolute ton of puzzle games to cover. I'll have to revisit Ballon Brothers another day. I don't think I'll revisit in one of these streams because there's too much else to do. Anyway. Thank you to everybody who's been here, everybody who's still here, everybody who's been having a nice chat. I've probably not been paying that much attention to all the chat messages this time because I've been trying to play the games and it's kind of hard to balance it out. And I noticed that quite often I look back at the chat, it's like there's a wall of text. But I do like the fact everybody's having a chat. But if I've missed messages, I apologise because sometimes it happens. If anybody said anything important, there is the Discord, which I posted the link to before, where you can put messages that I may have missed or anything of the sort. So, you know, that's kind of what it's there for. But yes, thank you everybody, and I will catch you on the next one, whenever that is. It will probably be another puzzle one, unless I want to do another stream in the middle, but I've got obviously the puzzle artwork set up, so it'll probably be another puzzle one if I'm doing another puzzle one. So take care everybody, and I will see you soon. Outro.